Radio.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Berto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is a program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to hear your point of view. We are an independent media outlet like mainstream media, the whole operation. We only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. I understand that, let's see, first of all, let me know if you guys, reverb is on, audio reverb. Let me see if I can fix that, brothers and sisters, and then you guys tell me when it's corrected. I think I see the problem. Hold on. It is just the intro. Okay, so you're saying it's working fine now. Well, look, thank you guys for letting me know what's going on. Anyhow, folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. Avan John Q, Michael Rudnin, welcome aboard, my dear friends. Today, it happened. Should Bernie have title the show, should Bernie have suspended scientist discusses COVID-19 defective charts? So we have two topics today. The first one is going to be Bernie. Bernie Sanders suspended his campaign, but will remain on the ballot. What's up, Arkin TE13? Welcome aboard to Politics Done Right. Before you guys go any further, please remember one thing that I ask you to do every single time. Please share Norman Relen's delayed voice over. I don't know what you mean by delayed voice over. Are you saying that my voice is not corresponding to my lips? Let me know if that's the case, because that would be a function of our broadcast software, something that we'd have to report to them. Anyhow, folks, today is a very important day. And before I let me go ahead and read what the topic is. Bernie Sanders suspended his campaign but will remain on the ballot. Right thing to do? Scientist Bruce Pollard tells us why COVID-19 charts are defective. And for those of you who are inside of our chat room, Bruce is already there listening. Bruce is going to be on live with us in the second half of the program. Very important that he has to discuss some issues with the charts. America must be sad for the sequence of events that led to Bernie Sanders' suspension of his campaign. It is clear that Americans wanted his policies, not only Democrats, but Americans in general. That said, Bernie's refusal to simply release his troops to Biden is being met with consternation from many. And you know what? I don't know about you all, but right now, I think Bernie is doing it the way it needs to be done. If you don't agree with me, I'd like to hear your point of view. I mean, whether you're a Democrat or not, I think it is imperative that we hear each other's point of view on this particular issue. But going back to the issue, I think it is necessary for us not to simply cede. Never just cede your sovereignty. Never just cede your vote. This is something I think minorities, people of color, black people do all the time. I think they cede their votes. They allow themselves to be considered a monolith. And in doing so, so many times, they are disregarded. Though that vote is mine. Well, that cost Hillary the election, right? Had Hillary gone to Milwaukee, had Hillary gone to Madison, Wisconsin, had Hillary gone to Pittsburgh, had Hillary gone to Detroit, she would be president today, and the nightmare that we're going through right now with Donald Trump would be less than it is. Okay, of course, we'd still have some neoliberal nightmares to contend with, but at least we would not have had that. So I did. Let me go ahead and bring. Yeah, Rudnin, that's true. Except proportionality creates a problem. So I am not sure. I am not sure exactly how that would work. But let's go ahead and let me go ahead and play the video that I have for today. I am seeing some interesting issues with our connections. So if you guys see any issues with the connections, go ahead and report it to me. If you're seeing any connection issues, I ask you to report it to me, and then we'll take it from there. Anyhow, I want you to see what I went ahead and prepared for you, and then we'll take it on the other side. Let's go ahead and bring that in. Oh, it seems like I didn't quite have it ready, but you know what? I am going to bring that in right now. Bring it into your fold right now. I think this is it right here. Every now and then you run into some issues and say, oh, but did you do it? Here we go. By now we've all seen that Bernie Sanders has suspended his campaign. The question is, how should he have done that? Well, I've started to get calls and texts that people are upset because Bernie Sanders said that he is suspending his campaign. He made it quite evident that he believes that Joe Biden will be ultimately the nominee. I still doubt that. I still think there may be some other issues to be taken care of by the DNC. But what he said is that he wants to maintain his delegates and he's going to remain on the ballot. And the reason he's going to do that, he wants to have influence on what the party platform is going to be. And that is an interest that was earned. But it's not only that. We have to recall how this came about. This came about when the entire power of the Democratic Party, the entire power of the corporatocracy came out against a surging candidate. They came out against a surging candidate telling the people at large, this is the only person that can win, that being Joe Biden. This is the only one that can beat Donald Trump. And given the fear that many have for Donald Trump, that is what you got. Well, for those who may doubt that, the power of the party was very responsible for holding back a surging candidate, one of the greatest talking pieces for the mainstream media, the corporate media, tends to agree as well. And here we go. Check this out.
Steve, it is remarkable where we were on the eve of the Nevada caucuses, Bernie Sanders declaring victory in San Antonio, Texas, going on the air, ready to pull a huge upset in South Carolina, and here we are today.
We've just seen Joe Biden, something that in the modern history of Democratic nominating contests, and that goes back a half century to 1972, in the modern history we've never seen, and that is that Joe Biden, he didn't just lose Iowa and then lose New Hampshire and then, for that matter, lose Nevada. He lost them big. He was left in the dust in those states. You can remember New Hampshire. Remember this? Remember the night of the New Hampshire primary? Look, you couldn't even see Joe Biden's name here. You had to go down past. There's Joe Biden in 5th place at 8%. I mean, you've seen candidates who've lost early states like Bill Clinton in 92 and become the Democratic nominee, but they got moral victories in the early states. Clinton could call himself the comeback kid in New Hampshire in 92. There were no moral victories for Joe Biden in those first 3 states, but you said it. It was that moment when Bernie Sanders won Nevada. He won it going away, and it looked like, based on how these things have gone in the past, that there might be a bandwagon effect, that Sanders might grow his support in South Carolina on Super Tuesday and beyond and kind of run away with the Democratic nomination. And instead, that great moment for Bernie Sanders, I think that victory for him in Nevada turned into the worst moment for him as a candidate because it focused the rest of the Democratic Party, the non-Sanders component of the party, on that gut check question. Do we really want to make, they had to ask themselves, Bernie Sanders the nominee? Their answer was no. The signal they got in South Carolina from Jim Clyburn, from the voters in South Carolina, every single county in the state was Biden blue that night. Basically a 30-point win for Joe Biden. The signal the Democratic Party got coming out of South Carolina was, if you don't want Sanders, it's Biden. And that was the answer we got from pretty much every state after that. Biden, Biden, Biden.
I think the biggest lesson is Bernie Sanders was right. There is a Democratic establishment, and it's still strong enough to keep him from getting the nomination.
That from the dean of the corporate media. It is still strong enough to deny him the nomination. And look, this is understood. But the reason that I am putting this out is not to attempt to be a spoiler, because that I will not be. But I think it is essential for people to understand that if America is saying the policies we want are the policies that Bernie Sanders is supporting, and the policies, but the reason that we're voting for Biden is because he's the only one we think can win. And if you have the power of the party, the power of the corporatocracy telling you that the only way you can get Trump out of the White House, that person that you so fear, the only way you can do it is through Biden. Biden is the only viable candidate. Then, of course, people that feel they will be most hurt by a Donald Trump second term will vote against it. But then there are the strong ones. They're the ones that say, you know what? We want a real change, and the way to get a real change is to give Americans what they want and not allow the corporate media and not allow a portion of a party beholden to a plutocracy, beholden to an oligarchy to say, hey, this is the only person that you can go with. You better go with this or else. So why then am I very happy that Mr. Sanders has decided not to simply throw his hands up and say bye-bye and endorse? Because I believe they asked for Biden. That's fine. If they want Biden to win, then they have to negotiate a win with all the factions, with all the stakeholders that are going to be in that new administration. And why do I say that? Well, I will explain this a little bit further as we go on. But to put it bluntly, Bernie Sanders, in leaving the way that he left, is doing the right thing. You must earn Bernie Sanders' vote. You must earn the work that he did and the work that others did. Because remember, he did that as a faction. The others did it under the umbrella of the plutocracy and the portion of the Democratic Party that is beholden to that plutocracy. I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right and Independent. Okay, here's the deal, folks. I want to now go over a text interchange with a darn good friend of mine. To put it bluntly, I am. It's a good friend, but I am upset at this friend that he still sees things through colored glasses. He still sees things in an insular manner. But here's the dialogue. He sends, after Bernie Sanders did his speech, he sends a comment and he says, "Is Sanders working to get Trump re-election? Where is the gracious exit that all the Democratic candidates made? Does he care about how his behavior is helping Trump? I didn't hear anything about coming together to defeat Trump. The most Sanders can do is cause a division at the convention and make his followers act like spoiled kids." Sad. I'm sorry. First of all, I don't act like a spoiled kid. Secondly, I am a Bernie Sanders supporter, not because I am somehow a cultist to Bernie Sanders. I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter because the policies he supports are the policies that support the poor, are the policies that support the middle class, including some of the high-end middle class that don't yet understand that they are being pilfered and ultimately will pay the price, like many find out when it's too late. So I responded, "My brother, I think you're tone deaf and it is that which will lose the election. When empathy starts, let me know. Most don't have anything else to lose. While Trump may be bad for you and me, for most it doesn't matter. And when those in your class, the guardians of the status quo, realize that, then the country can move forward. Till then, many are ready to give the big FU for being selfish. Hell, they have got nothing to lose. When they start looking through the when you start looking through the eyes of others, I will get perturbed. Till then, I am in solidarity with those who too many of us have screwed with screwed with our mental slavery and acquiescence to some master. Sorry, I didn't check the grammar in my response. He responded, I see it differently. Another 4 years of Trump will be a disaster. At so many levels, and it's the poorest and young people of color who get hurt the most. No, the young people of color have continuously been screwed by Democrats and Republicans alike. No, they've been continuously screwed by everybody else that come and ask for their votes and never get anything in return. We just have to look at the trend lines for where black folks or Latinos in general are going. And yes, they have a few stars that come out. Yes, they have a few executives that come out. But look at the aggregate. You don't have to look at the aggregate of other groups, of specifically one group, to see that they are falling behind too, but at lesser rates. So folks, my answer, I know that is how you see it. They don't. The catharsis is not for them, but you. Again, they have little to lose. It is you who have a lot to lose. When that is realized, maybe the alliance between the current guardians of the gate and the masses will occur. Think about what you said. Do you really even care about the poor? Everyone uses them as pawns. They won't get the last laugh, but neither those allied with those holding them back. In other words, okay, I have asked everybody for help. I have asked everybody for help, and the only one, and you, who is supposed to be allied with me, you're not helping me. You're asking me to help you every single time. So every election, I am there to support you. Every election, I am voting with you. And you constantly tell me, wait your turn. You constantly tell me, wait. You tell the poor, wait. You tell those asking for health care, wait. While those that are the guardians of the gate, they continuously they live happy, and then they look down at those that are poor. Why did they work as hard as I did? Well, you know what? They did. Many of them, yes, they did. Who will be their advocates? So my response, we should be, he comes back and he says, we should be united to defeat Trump. My issue is that Bernie puts himself and his causes above that. He is not satisfied with working for health care for all. He wants Medicare for all run by the government. Will re-electing Trump get us there? No, but getting Biden doesn't get us there either. They're both beholden to the corporatocracy. They're both beholden to a system that is not functional. They are both regarded to a private healthcare system that mathematically does not work. And you know when you're going to see it? Coronavirus is going to push us into Medicare for all much quicker than Bernie could. And you know why? Because people are going to start getting their Medicare bill or their healthcare bills. People are going to start seeing, oh my God, you mean I am a coronavirus? At first, when I was working in corporate America, at first when I thought I had a good job, at first when I thought about all these things, things were great, things were marvelous. You know why? Because I figure there's nothing that could happen in society that's going to hurt me. Oh, nothing could happen that could make me suffer. Well, coronavirus knows knows no discrimination. So that executive can get coronavirus. And when he's no use to the plutocracy, you go. When he's no use to anything else, you go. That's what people don't understand. This system is extractive. It chews you out. And when you are no use for the profit margins, when you are no use to enhance or enrich the shareholder, when you are no use, you are baggage and you're thrown away. And without a safety net, that's what happens. So when he says, you should be reunited in my issue, I said, no, I will answer these questions on my Politics Done Right show today. And the reason I'm doing this, my brothers and my sisters, is the following. when you are not living within the pain, when you don't see the pain with your eyes, we are then dependent on something known as empathy.